What screams I peaked in high school? Getting the score of the football game you won against the school's rival tattooed on your shoulder. When I was in high school, this guy a year before me had a fearsome reputation. At house parties, people would fear him just by name alone. He would show up to parties with his cronies and start fights. He came from a decent enough family. Everybody wanted to be on his good side. Anyway, he graduates high school, and most of us were still in 12th grade. I remember he used to come around lunchtime to smoke with the people out front, shoot the breeze and talk about how much fun it is to just sleep in and do nothing and have all this freedom. A couple of months of "oh cool. 2, why are you still here?" as we awkwardly shuffled back to class. I dated a guy with his high school mascot tattooed on his arm. It was such a turnoff. The fight in swastikas wasn't actually a thing, but you still have every reason to be turned off. A guy who graduated from my high school back in 2003 was arrested a few years ago for his second DUI. He was wearing his Letterman jacket in his mugshot. I picked up some stuff at my parents' house when I was 25. One of those things is my Letterman's jacket. Put it on, got in the car, had to stop for gas. Who happens to be filling their car next to mine? My high school wrestling coach. I wonder how much of a loser he thought I was. I wasn't even that good. Partying with high schoolers when you're 30. Freak, I can't imagine this. I'm 32, and high schoolers seemed ridiculously young to me after about 23. We used to play indoor floor hockey in a loft room in the big gym of my middle school. One game I scored 3 goals, one of them being a bank shot off the wall. The next year I wrote about the game for an assignment in English class and the teacher read it to the class the next day. I'm not sure which one was my peak. Billy Joel feels compelled to write a ballad about how you and your ex were the king and the queen of the prom, how the two of you married right after high school, and how it all went to hell from there. Bonus points if your names happen to be Brenda and Eddie. At my 10-year reunion, the prom queen came wearing a tiara with a custom Queen 03 sash over her shoulder. I had to go outside, I was laughing so hard. But I'll be damned if she didn't rock that outfit the whole time, so, respect. Still sad though. Still bullying the nerds at your 10-year reunion. Or worse, in real life. I briefly worked with a guy I went to high school with, and like 90% of our not work-related conversations were him reminiscing about how much he'd bullied me in high school, and acting like it was all a big joke. Sharing every memory from Facebook, talking about the good old days and wish we could go back when it's only been a few years since graduation. As someone who recently graduated, the students who returned to the school every time they came home from school just so people would pay attention to them. Also not sure how to explain it, but the people who now posts blank screens and just text on their Snapchat stories that just say things like "always crazy to see who you can really trust when XYZ happens," or "surprising to see who really cares about you when you need friends the most." Like I said, I don't know how to explain it, but there's definitely a correlation. Me, in a horrid realization, in the back of my '92 Camaro, while icing that knee I blew out at the championship game senior year, reading through the divorce papers. Selling pot to teenagers and then trying to get them to stay and smoke with you. I mean, I met someone who's going to be one of my groomsmen like this. Sold the kid weed and he seemed pretty cool, so we ended up smoking and playing fighting games for most of the afternoon. Still one of my best friends, almost a decade later. Dropping out of college to promote your pyramid scheme. Still bragging about high school basketball games from 10 years ago. Filming yourself running drills and throwing footballs off camera in front of your van/mobile home. Want to earn money from home and set your own hours? Selling your pyramid scheme essential oils on Facebook. My cousin uses her daughter's birthday party to sell my grandma and aunt's shitty purses. Always showing up to the football field wearing your Letterman jacket, years after you barely passed summer school in order to graduate. The class that graduated before me had their 10-year reunion last year and apparently a big fight broke out over something that happened when they were all still in high school. I guess that is one way to tell if someone peaked in high school. Pretty embarrassing. Teachers who suck up to the athletes and other popular kids and ignore the less popular kids. My freshman year Spanish teacher was like that. I went to school with a girl whose parents graduated from our high school 20 years prior. All 4 members of their family got the school's logo tattooed. Her boyfriend still goes to the football games and reposts his game highlights on Instagram. We're all 21 to 22. I'm from New Mexico and live in the largest city in the state. We've never had a good HS football team and the BF usually goes to pick up underage girls and brags to everyone about how he was the star football player. If someone from another team makes a really good play, he'll make some kind of remark about how he could have done it better, or he'll go into a detail about his JV football experience, making any mention of SAT or ACT scores. Bonus points for that IQ test you took when you were a kid online. One summer I was doing an internship, and introduced myself to a fellow intern. He told me his name and SAT score, then asked me what my score had been. He seemed shocked when I said I couldn't remember anymore. I was like, dude, we're in grad school. I was in the NHS, so I know a little bit about leadership anytime after high school. When I was in high school, the cool kids partied hard. They'd get blackout drunk and used whatever illegal substances they can get. I was looking through the profiles of some of those classmates and a few of them are still doing the same shit. Talking gangsta shit despite growing up in a middle-class suburb. Talking about how they miss their kids who are in CPS custody because they went to jail for using, going on rants about narcs, etc. They're about 27 or 28. What made you cool in high school makes you a loser as a grown-ass adult, especially when you're a parent. I have a good one for this. My cousin once dragged me out to a local bar that I don't particularly care for due to its reputation. But I was going through a separation and figured I could use a night out. A guy comes up to me, clearly already drunk, and belligerently declares, "I've never seen you in here before." I replied, "That's because I've never been in here before." Him, "Well, I'm just saying I've never seen you here before." Me, "Okay." Him, "I'm John. I used to play football at the school up the road." "You know the school just up the road? Up on the hill?" Me, "Yes, I know the school. I went to the same school." Him, "Yeah, I played football there." Me, "Good for you?" Him, "I don't remember you from school." Me, "I don't imagine you do." Him, "Well, I'm just saying, I played football there and I don't remember you." Me, "Okay." Finally he walked away. More like stumbled away. This was back in around 2013. I graduated in '04, he was 1 or 2 years ahead of me. So it had been over a decade since he graduated, and he was using his high school football to hit on chicks at the bar. He moved on to hit on my cousin, so I pretended to be her lesbian lover to chase him off. Lol. She thanked me for it. Guy is a total tool and always was. Still wearing your Letterman jacket and class ring in your 30s, talking about high school sports games from a different decade as if they meant something. Still living in your hometown and looking forward to that night at the bar just before Thanksgiving when everyone who left comes home, so you can talk about high school stuff to people who have grown up and have real lives now. Anyone that still wears their Letterman's jacket after high school. That jacket was expensive, and also super warm and comfortable. Kind of a shame it's in the back of a closet now. Dying before graduation. Some of the popular girls from high school still get together very frequently, and you see updates of it on Facebook. I also keep in touch with some friends from high school, and I think that that's nice. However, one of those friends of mine once ran into them during one of their get-together. He said hi and happened to be sitting not too far from them at the bar. He said that all they did for the whole night was talk about high school. They looked up old classmates on Facebook, laughed at them, called them names, looked at their spouses and called them names too. They still thought themselves the popular kids, as if they still had some sort of influence on all these people. Everyone has moved on, done interesting things in their life except for them. They're just rehashing old drama and old rumors. One of those girls had a small bit of success as a photographer in high school. She won a couple contests that were aimed at teenagers and her photos aren't bad. Her parents turned this into a very big deal. Her friends all wanted to be in her photos, and she was dead set on going to art school and getting the recognition she deserved. I don't know if she never made it into art school or if she dropped out, but she definitely did not become a photographer. Instead, you see her launching some new startup business selling asinine live laugh love shit about once a year. Constantly sharing stuff about how great they were at high school football.